Welcome to the Mom Please podcast, the #1 generation-spanning show that discusses all the latest issues in modern society, with your millennial host, Eric Joseph, along with baby boomer representative and co-host, Carol Strand. Join us as we delve into what's going on in the world today and discuss how to bridge the aisle to find common ground. And now, for this week's episode of Mom Please. Previously on Mom Please.
But today's topic, Eric, so
Yes.
what's your definition of turkey?
First off, I think we have to tell our viewers that we are doing a Thanksgiving turkey tell-all. Mm-hmm. We are going to be talking about turkeys. A turkey is something that is extremely or like completely unsuccessful. You know, we're going to expand the definition for the sake of our discussion to just kind of anything in general that's, you know, either been a failure or unsuccessful in our mind, something that is maybe getting on our nerves, something that we don't like. I am aware of a specific stereotype surrounding people who don't use their turn signals, and it's BMW drivers.
What?
Everybody says that BMW drivers are like the worst at using their turn signals. And I have seen some videos out there, and it's pretty bad.
And did you but did anybody step up to the plate on that and take responsibility for it?
No, of course not.
Yeah.
Because I would have had to have found that out like within the year that this is a new construction, right? So that you get like a year on your new construction to point out these issues to your builder. And trust me, I tried with this builder.
Right.
But eventually, like, he started getting annoyed, and he gave me some, like, I called him on the phone one day, and he's like, and I'm sorry, I apologize, you know, I'm going to do my worst Polish accent ever. He's like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I am in Poland for next 4 months. My mother, she's very sick. I must be over here to, handle. I sent my friend Jakob, he deal with you."
Okay,
you know?
Vladimir.
So, like, Jakob was unhelpful.
Okay, so this is on a different topic. Parents who buy their kids a motorized bike. I see a ton of these all of a sudden, okay?
Hate that.
Now, here's what I don't like about that. I don't think they're safe. These are not pedal assist bikes where you have to pedal the bike.
These are like fully motorized.
This is like fully
ones, right?
motorized.
Yeah.
And
those things go almost like 30 miles an hour,
and
right?
isn't it counterintuitive to put a kid on a bicycle for exercise and then it's motorized?
And then it's motorized. Yeah.
I mean, I don't get that. Okay, so I'm not a fan of when I'm watching a sporting event with my kids and a Viagra commercial comes on. My adult kids, right?
Oh, gosh.
And I mean, come on, enough is enough. I mean, the one guy is always throwing the football through the tire swing.
Getting it right
like,
through there.
What does that mean? Okay,
I don't know.
I mean.
He was like, "Yo, did you hear about this thing happening? Shorzy is doing this thing." And I was like, "Oh, okay. Well, I didn't hear about Shorzy. I don't think I know who that is."
Right.
And I said that out loud. Like, I said the word Shorzy, right? I opened up my phone like before you came into my home today. I look at Reddit and I scroll a little bit and I see an advertisement that's like, "Shorzy is coming to your area this date, this time." And
so
I was
that
like,
prompted that.
I can't
it's like
believe
Big Brother.
that. It's literally like the phone is listening to me.
Everybody says
I hate it.
Okay.
I don't like
now
that.
You're a conspiracist.
No, it is true though, Mom. It's true. It's true.
Yeah, okay. You know, I'm tired of political parties slinging mud. I'm tired of listening to political commercials that accuse each side of being, lower than pond scum, the worst thing in the world.
Yeah.
Could you just talk about your platform? Could you just talk about your policies? Could you just not appeal so much to the emotional component and anger
fear,
and irritation and fear mongering?
One thing that is tough for me is I live in Chicago, and it is definitely a very left kind of area. I know people look at me a certain way and think certain things about me based on just what I look like, and there was a situation where my wife and I went out to a party. I'm in a conversation with two people, and I know one of them for sure I know is a trans person. I'm in this conversation with these two people for at least like 10, 15 minutes, whatever we're talking about. I'm not really sure. Then another person comes and joins in the conversation. It's an Asian girl. She joins the conversation, and this is what kind of confused me and kind of got me thinking a little bit. She then decides to ask the two people that I'm sitting with, "What are your pronouns?" They, them. Okay, what are your pronouns? they, them. Okay. She looks at me. She does like an up and down scan. And then she looks back at the rest of the people and she sort of continues the conversation that we were having, right? And I'm like sitting there like, okay, there's a lot that's here to unpack about this situation. She didn't ask me my pronouns because she looks at me and assumes I'm a straight, white, cis, hetero,
cis
male, like all those qualifiers about me. Obviously, people who ask people their pronouns, they're going to be on the left. Those people should be trying to make everybody feel comfortable, right? It shouldn't be
did you feel uncomfortable?
I felt not uncomfortable, but I was annoyed that she didn't ask me what my pronouns were because she should be trying to treat everybody the same. Like there's no world in which it makes sense to me, somebody who would say to another person, you shouldn't make assumptions based on what people look like.
Right.
And she's out here making assumptions based on what people look like.
And now for the conclusion of the last episode of Mom Please.
Okay, on a lighter note.
Yeah, get back to light things.
I don't like when nobody in the United States that works behind a cash register actually knows how to give change back.
Oh, everybody's like math illiterate now.
Everybody
change.
has to wait for it to tell them how much change to give you back, like, okay, because they just can't. They can't
do the quick math.
Do the quick math back to you. I think that's a skill set that we've lost.
Yeah.
I'm a turkey sometimes when
How so?
I can't. When somebody will greet me, they will know my name. And I can't recall their name, and that bothers me.
Yeah, I am bad with that too. I have actually been very bad with names like my whole life. So I work really, really hard when I meet new people, like repeating their name over and over in my head just to make sure
or
that
get
I
a mnemonic on them or whatever.
Or like, this is going to sound dumb, but sometimes I'll even like get their contact information. I will take a picture of them and I will put it there in the phone.
But that's not.
I asked them to take the picture, of course. I'm like, yo, can I like snap you so I know what you look like next time I see you? Because like people ask you sometimes, like, do you remember who I am? And I'm like,
and you're like, no.
I'm sorry, I don't. And it makes me feel so bad.
I know. And I feel bad about that too. And sometimes I just have to fess up and say, I'm sorry, can you remind me your name again?
Yeah.
And here's the other thing that's irksome about names. Don't misspell people's names. If you're going to send out a memo or anything that's written, look it up. Look up their names and get the proper spelling of it. Yeah. I mean, that's just not that hard to do.
Yeah. You know something that's light that is bothering me as well?
What?
Squirrels.
I
hate the squirrels in my neighborhood. I just had some beautiful, beautiful landscaping work done in the front. I'm really, really happy about it.
Are they?
And they are digging up
nuts. They're
digging up everything. They're trying to put their nuts, hide them away for the winter.
And the funny thing
shit.
about a squirrel is they probably bury, say, 5 nuts a week, 5 acorns a week.
Probably
they
more.
Never find them.
Yeah, they don't pick them up later. It's like another squirrel probably comes along, digs, and it's like,
my lucky day.
Look, I buried this here.
And
I did this.
On the premise of that, equally as annoying is the no-see-em.
Oh, the little bugs that are
you can't see them. They are biting you. You can't feel them. You wake up the next day. They are
itchy.
The itchiest bites I have ever had. I hate the no-see-em.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Something that's like kind of in the middle here. I have a hard time, or it irks me a little bit that people don't care about things that are true tests of skill. They care more about the drama or the other story that's happening behind the scenes of this. And something that happened recently that I can point to is Mike Tyson just fought Jake Paul.
Right.
And both of these guys, I would say there's no interest for me in terms of the skill of what's happening here. The only real interest is, oh my God, look at this 58-year-old former powerhouse of a heavyweight fighter. Obviously Mike Tyson had his day and he was an incredible fighter. Mm-hmm. Not the best, but a very good fighter. Mm-hmm. Fight this kid who is at first, Jake Paul was an influencer. He and his brother Logan Paul owe their success to Vine back in the day, which was like a precursor to TikTok, things like that. And they have built their careers through social media influencing, and Jake Paul fairly recently made a career switch to the boxing world, and his record is now 10-1. So you look at that and you're like, wow, he must be pretty good. They're throwing softballs at him.
Yeah,
he's not getting fights of fighters with any skill.
The next, George Foreman's going to
fight him. Next time, yeah, no, they're going to like Muhammad Ali is going to rise from the grave and he's going to fight him, right? So there was no skill happening here. I watched the fight. It was 8 rounds. The first 2 rounds were the only rounds where Mike was doing anything other than stand in the middle and like just be defensive the entire time, right? And I think you can talk to a lot of people who watched that fight. It felt weird and I think bad to see like a 27-year-old kid beat on a 58-year-old man. Like that's not. Well, I don't want to see that.
Yeah,
I don't actually want to see that.
Nobody wants to see that.
I don't actually want to see that.
Okay, I don't.
Yeah, that. So things like that, it seeps into other places too, because it leads to things like all the top movies are like Marvel movies, which are all style and no substance, superhero garbage. It waters down other things that used to be good intellectual properties and makes people just think, oh, well, I just slapped this name onto this kind of mediocre thing. And like then you get stuff like The Acolyte from Star Wars, which had 1 season and was instantly canceled. And like all this stuff that is just like, no, we want to see things that are good. We don't care about the story behind it. We just want to see things that are nice and good and either a true test of skill or if you're watching a movie, you want to see a good movie. Right?
Right. Well, go see a good show. Go see Conclave. It's about the Pope.
Okay.
Getting the Pope. It's fantastic.
All right.
It's fantastic.
All right. Check that out.
I don't like over celebrating in the end zone and talking trash.
Okay. In football,
for American instance, football. The Chicago Bears, I think, got a big portion of humble pie recently.
I think
because
they
were
I think they did.
Celebrating before the game was actually over.
We talked about that quite a bit.
Yeah. I don't like Southwest Airlines not assigning seats because okay.
Yeah.
Why? Because I pay that extra money to get, seat 1 through 15, and then I get to the first couple rows. And people are saving seats for
like,
the people who are behind me. I'm like, wait, we do that now? I mean, come on.
I feel like that's a little bit. That's not within the spirit of what Southwest Airlines is trying to do.
Right?
That's
but I guess they are deciding to change that. But I don't think it's going to happen until 26.
Yeah. I mean that I have something that bothers me that's kind of like that. It's people who are like they're not necessarily doing anything that's illegal, but they're doing things that are bending the rules or kind of, they're cheating a little bit or they're liars. And like you said, you don't like liars or people who subscribe to like game theory or gamesmanship, right? So that would be, anybody who kind of has that whatever it takes to win mentality, regardless of what is moral or what is fair. I think that's a very negative.
But are we being judgmental by saying that?
No, because, if you're going by a standard of whatever it takes to win is how you should do it, then I think you're I want to see, like I said, a test of skill. I want to see somebody's skill. I don't want to see how good somebody is at cheating. I want to see how good they are at whatever they're doing, So if I'm watching like soccer, I don't want to know how good somebody is at flopping and drawing fouls.
Oh, you don't
want to see somebody smash the ball from 30 yards away into the top corner of the net.
You don't want to see Deflategate?
No, I don't want to see Deflategate or Spygate, the filming, right, of the teams or any of that stuff. I'm sorry, Brady. I'm sorry, Belichick. You guys are cheaters a little bit. At least you won some of them legitimately, though, so it's not all bad.
Yeah, okay. Those are hard no matter what. I don't like it when I'm watching a television show and a commercial comes on and it's 3 times the volume.
Oh, I hate that.
They turn the volume up.
I hate that.
I'm like, okay, stop. Yeah. Just stop.
I'll be watching something online and I'll have the volume like really, really low. And it just auto sets itself. There's like a set volume for commercials. It doesn't matter what I have the setting at. There's actually like a set volume for commercials. It's like half, like at least 50% of your computer's volume or your TV's volume. Nuts. And I'm like, dude, no, that's so loud. That's so loud.
I hate the close talkers. Okay. And especially, when when somebody is addressing you, and they're
right up next
really
to you.
come close to you, and my natural reaction is I back up, and they are socially so unaware, then they move closer.
They keep
to me.
getting closer,
and I'm like, get the social cue. You're making me uncomfortable.
You know what I like or I dislike? I kind of in that is people who are kind of unaware about like a not so good body odor coming from them, because they'll also like get right up next to you, and then you get that right in your face, like a wall of their BO hits you, and you're like, huh, so you back up a little bit, and then they're like, oh no, I need to get closer because you backed up.
Because you backed
and
up.
It's like, no, you don't smell very good.
No.
Please,
Well, the other thing, and I'm amused by this, is people, you'll be in a conversation with them and you're having a meal, and they're asked a question and they're eating their food, right? And instead of
chewing the food and
responding, they do the thing where I don't want to see their food, first of all, or they cover their mouth and continue to chew and answer. So they have a hand in front of them
doing the this thing.
Yeah,
I think that the doing the this thing is okay,
no,
because at least you're not seeing the food that they're eating.
But
right?
I do that.
Sometimes.
I can't understand.
I do that sometimes. I'm sorry. Am I a turkey for doing that?
Stop doing that. Stop doing it. Stop.
I'll stop putting the napkin over my face when I talk. I'll just eat my
just
food.
quit talking and finish your food.
Let's see. What else? Ooh. This is something that bothers me quite a lot. People who form really, really strong opinions about stuff when they've either not interacted with whatever that thing is that they have a strong opinion with in like a decade, or they really just don't have they haven't looked it up. They don't have any real knowledge about the thing, but they act like complete experts on whatever it is. And they just like will shut you down whenever you talk about it. This just happened actually very recently on the Pat McAfee show. So Aaron Rodgers was on the Pat McAfee show, and Jared Goff, the quarterback of the Detroit Lions, threw like 4 interceptions this past weekend, but they still won the game.
I know.
They still won the game.
I know. It's their year, I think, everybody,
maybe,
by the way.
It might be the Lions' year. They're a very good team. So they, Aaron Rodgers said something, because he reads like this tweet, and he's like, so apparently every time Jared Goff has had a 4 or more interception game, which has happened 7 times, he's won all of them.
Right.
And you think about that, and Aaron Rodgers on the Pat McAfee show, he says, so I heard the statistic. Is this even true, guys? Is this true? And he asked that. He puts the statistic out there, and Pat McAfee and the other guests on the show immediately, without hesitation, are like, yes, it's 100% true. Absolutely happened. Fact checking. You fact check that shit. He's only thrown 4 interceptions twice in his career, and he won one of those, which was yesterday, and lost the other one. And it sucks, because this is how misinformation spreads, because you have these guys that are supposedly put forth as unbiased, truth-telling sources, and they just repeat this. Like, they have enough money to fact check, right? Aaron Rodgers has plenty of money. He can fact check, right?
And not just that. I mean, they should. So how in what they're providing to the public, they should be fact checking.
They should not. If they are football experts, they claim to be football experts, they should not be just throwing around these bunk things.
Right.
And the guy who made the tweet that this all came from tweeted again afterwards, by the way, I just made this tweet in my bed at halftime of this game because I thought it would be funny and I wanted to see if I could convince people it was true. They literally did it just to see, and that's dangerous. That's dangerous, because if people are doing that with football,
that's bad.
Imagine what's happening with other information
we don't want to know.
Anywhere, right?
Okay.
So like media sources, especially that bugs me too. Media sources that present themselves as unbiased and just don't even tell you the truth.
Well, but
they
you know
that
media sources are not unbiased at
this
point.
They're not. But a lot of the times this is why mom, people my generation don't watch like NBC or CBS
it's super
or
interesting
Fox,
because
we know that they've been lying to us for 30 years.
But when I grew up as a kid, all they did was report what was happening.
Yeah.
And then at the very end, they would have
they'd have like an editorial. Yep.
Right?
That's where they would put their opinion.
Was it. There was no opinion. Yeah. So you grew up.
Now it's all opinions.
You grew up on the news source, and now it really is mostly opinion.
I would love to get away from the biased news reporting and back to just regular reporting.
So somebody put that network back up.
Yeah.
Right? I don't like power cords, the maze of power cords.
Yeah, we got a couple over here.
I hate that. I just hate that.
Yeah,
That's all I have to say about that.
I agree.
I don't like when people misuse their, and their.
Yeah.
And people who miss your, and our, and our.
Or like lose and loose.
Right?
Yeah.
And I myself this week used compliment incorrectly.
Did you?
But I went back and double checked it and corrected it.
Yeah.
So, look
always
it up.
check and double check.
Check and double check. It's just, to me, that gives me satisfaction when I look up things like that. I want to get the right one.
Yeah.
And I guess people don't care about that.
Yeah. Yeah. I have a problem with people who don't pick up their dog's droppings. You know, when their dog does their business, they just leave it there. And, I mow my own lawn with a little push mower, with a little manual rotary push mower.
In fairness, it's not like there's acreage
There's
here,
not a lot of lawn. There's not a lot of lawn. But every once in a while, I will be mowing the lawn and my mower goes right over the dog poop, cuts it up in a little piece, starts flinging it around. And I'm like, ew, that's
so fun.
gross.
So
it reminds me of this time when, oh my gosh, this was crazy. We used to have one of those like little shark vacuums or like a Roomba vacuum in our old place, in our like little tiny apartment.
Yeah, okay.
And one of the dogs had an accident in the apartment
and
one night.
Spread it all
went over the and it's just flinging it all over the apartment,
fun.
all over the walls, all over the ceiling. It ruined the vacuum. Like it reminds me of that. I have PTSD from that.
Yeah,
moment,
I would
Mom.
have PTSD.
I had to clean that.
that.
I had to clean that literal shit up. I had to clean that up.
Okay, this isn't as bad as that, but it's still irksome. Empty cartons in the refrigerator.
Oh, I
leaving
hate
an
that.
empty toilet paper roll.
Or like empty paper towels.
Replenish, people. Replenish. Right?
Let's see. Ooh, something that I don't like is people who like make you feel uncomfortable when you're in a social setting and you are not participating in, like if they're drinking alcohol or they're, doing a drug of some kind and you're like, no, I'm okay. And they like kind of, they make you feel weird about that.
They're pushing on you?
Yeah, they're like, they're like pushing on you because like, I don't drink that much. And when I go out to drink, I'm having like a regular beer and then I have a non-alcoholic beer and then I have a regular beer and then a non-alcoholic beer just to pace myself over the course of the night to make sure that the next day I'm not really, really hungover, right? And, when I tell people that, they're like, oh, why? And I don't know. It's because like if I have more than like 5 drinks, alcoholic drinks in a night, my next day is ruined. It doesn't matter. Like,
I can't do more. I can't do more than 3. If I'm on the third drink, it's not good.
Yeah, like I have a very, very low tolerance right now, and if I go over that tolerance, the next day is gone for me. I can't do anything. Right?
Okay. How do you feel about this? When you're in a conversation, somebody's always on their phone and they're scrolling and they're checking. They're
I don't
always,
like that.
always on their phone.
I don't like that.
Or they're watching television with somebody and they're on their phone and then they're asking you what happened in the show and you're like, well, watch the show instead of your phone.
Yeah.
I just focus, people, focus.
Okay. I will speak for our younger generation a little bit here. We've been raised to have our focus split this way and that way and that way and this way and this way and that way. So
I don't like it. I don't have to like it.
Well, you don't have to like it, but I'm just saying that naturally, us younger people, for whatever reason, and I've even noticed this about myself, I like to have like 2 different things going on at the same time, like because for some reason,
if you come to my house for dinner, there's no phone at the table.
Well, I know, but that's because that was a rule that we had when we were like this tall.
Yeah,
right?
and
I'm good about that. At least I'm good about that.
Okay, how about one-uppers in conversations? Somebody, you're in a conversation, somebody tells a great story, and then somebody else says, "Oh yeah, but wait, let me tell you what happened to me."
Yeah.
I'm like, even if you had a better story, give that person their moment.
Yeah, I agree.
Their person that moment.
One thing that's a little bit more to the like more serious topics and more serious things. I really disliked you said you didn't like the political attack ads that you saw. You don't like the political attack ads, right? I don't like the incredibly pandering advertisements that came out to try and get more men to vote for Kamala Harris. There were they trotted out Tim Walz Like he was some sort of caricature of a man's man, you know, like the Midwestern man's man, you know, and he could still be like a good husband to his wife and support his wife and be her cheerleader. But he also likes guns, you know, and he also hunts and he does all these other manly things. And it's like, you know, instead of trying to convince us based on who is in your party, try to convince us based on the issues.
Right.
And you know,
although I got to tell you, Jim Gaffigan on SNL played a fabulous Tim Walz.
Did he?
Yes.
Did he? I'll have to check that out. But there was a lot of, you know, like things coming out like... the worst of it that I saw. Okay. There was an advertisement that this guy is in his bed and his hand is under his blanket, you know, things are happening, right? And then a guy in a suit with a blue tie just pops into his bedroom and the dude's like, oh, he's like, hey, don't worry. It's fine. You can continue what you were doing. Now, I just am here to tell you that Republicans want to take away your porn. And so if you want to keep doing this, you better vote for Harris. And I'm like, is that the level of discourse that
I never saw that, and I'm glad I never saw that.
Is that the level of discourse that honestly the left has for guys like me? It's not shocking. It's not shocking to me if that's what they have, that a lot of guys voted for Donald Trump. It's really not shocking to me. So I don't like, you know, there are real and legitimate men's issues out there, Mom, and people don't like talking about them. But it's really, really especially disgusting when people start talking about them only to engender like voting for their party or to garner votes for their party and say like, look, fellow man, I am also in the struggle with you. I know these issues that the mainstream media doesn't ever talk about, doesn't ever report on, bother you. Well, vote for us. We'll deal with them. And the truth is that party thinks that guys like me are the enemy. But they don't want to.
Right. But I also don't think that any specific group wants to be pandered to in any way, shape, or form. I agree. We just want to be all treated like people and have the same rights and inclusivity and opportunities. Yeah. And nobody likes that pandering. And yet, the people who are running the ads and so forth, I question. I
think they're out of touch a lot of the time. I think they're out of touch a lot of the time because I think they do just tend to pander to groups without thinking about why they're doing it or the way that they're doing it. There's a lot of stuff that, you know, DEI initiatives, like diversity initiatives, happen in like media quite frequently. And there was something that happened recently with like a long time, and you aren't going to really care about this too much, but for me, I do care about these things.
Excuse me.
A long time loved video game series of mine just recently released a new entry into the series, and it's called Dragon Age: The Veilguard. And people are rightly ripping this online because there are scenes in this. This is supposed to be like a grim, dark, high fantasy, gritty kind of experience. And there's modern dialogue from literally the year 2024 where a character calls someone her or she, and then another character looks at them and is like, and then the person's like, oh, I'm sorry, I'm sorry I misgendered you. And then there's a whole long scene that plays out where that person that does the misgendering gets down on the ground, does a bunch of push-ups, and goes on to explain, oh, this is how you say I'm sorry for doing something like that, because this is a very good way to do this. And it doesn't make it all about me, even though I'm literally having to explain why I'm doing this apology. So I am making it all about me. And it's like, you guys who wrote this have no idea why you're even having this scene in this game, do you? You don't even understand the point of like not misgendering people or how to apologize for that. You know, so it comes off as like there's this Steve Buscemi meme where he's wearing a shirt that says like college and he's got a backwards hat and a skateboard on. And he walks up to some kids and he's like, hey there, fellow kids. I think it's from like 30 Rock or something. Okay. And it feels like that. It feels like a 60-year-old guy walking up to a bunch of teens being like, hey, I'm just like you. You know, it just feels, it feels bad. It feels pandery. It just feels like they think this is what people want when it's not. It's not. People want to be included and they want to be seen, but they don't want to be like fetishized, or seen as this like other thing,
Right. They want to be a human.
They just want to be a human. People just want to be a human and treated like a human.
Okay,
That's
so
it.
I got to move off of something deep.
Go ahead.
I want to
go ahead.
Back to the airlines. All I can say is, hey, if I'm sitting on an airplane with you and I'm at the window seat, and I've got headphones on, or I'm working on my computer, or I'm reading a book. Leave me alone. I do not want to have a conversation with you. Okay. This is a universal sign for
don't talk to me.
Let's not talk.
Don't talk to me.
And then do not try to crowd my window. I have people, over like this, looking out my window. Okay, I have the window seat. You have no priority on it. So stay away from my window. Okay, that's all I have to say about that.
Another light thing then. I hate winter in Chicago. I hate winter where I live because you don't even stay here during the winter.
Right.
You go off to Florida.
I don't like the winter.
I don't like the winter. Not good. Like, there is nothing in this city that can be done in the winter that can't also be done in the summer and is better in the summer.
Summers here are great.
Yeah, summers here are fantastic. But there's nothing interesting about the winter. There's no mountains. There's nothing outside that you can do with the snow except push it from one place to another place. I hate it. I hate winter. And it's like minus 40 degrees also. Like,
the snow is pretty when it first falls, but that's about it.
Yeah, the snow is nice when it first falls.
How about this? No one gets up for old people on the subway.
Okay, I don't think I've taken a subway in like 10 years.
Well,
I don't think I've taken a subway in like 10 years.
Okay, how about a bus?
I don't know if the last time I took a bus at all.
Okay.
I'm not a public transport guy.
How about airline pretenders?
Airline pretenders?
Yeah,
what do you mean?
This is the person who it comes up in the wheelchair, because I go to Florida a lot.
Oh, I know.
Come up in the wheelchair, they get on the plane, and then I see them running for their luggage and running for their Uber when we land in the other city.
Yeah, so clearly they have the use of their
fake
legs.
Service dogs, fake comfort animals.
Yeah.
I'm not in favor of those things. Put shopping carts back at the grocery store.
Oh, definitely. That one's really, really frustrating. There's a very, very good kind of, I don't know what to call it, but it's like a short form kind of essay maybe about how like the shopping cart is the ultimate litmus test to determine if you're like a good person or a bad person, because it takes so little effort to put that cart back.
Really? Well, somebody was saying to me the other day that it felt like it was more energy for you to, the people that put it up, half up on the curb and half on the, that takes more energy than just walking it back to the stall.
Yeah.
So anyway, put them back.
Yeah, put them back. Put the shopping carts back.
You'll love this, Eric, because you have dentists in your family.
I do. I do. A couple.
When the dentist or the dental hygienist has all their instruments
in your mouth
and their hands in my mouth, and they ask me a question.
And you're like, yeah, that's fun.
I don't like that. I don't like that.
Ooh, this one I like. Or, well, don't like. It bothers me when you have sports fans who get mad at you for not following the team when it's really going through like a rough spell. Like those sports fans that say you need to support your team no matter what, no matter how good or how bad they are. And like, you definitely should. Like, if you feel strongly about a team, you definitely should try to keep supporting them if they're not as good as you hope they are. But like in the instance where your organization has bad ownership that doesn't want to put money into the team.
Do we know any team like that?
Oh, I don't know. Maybe like the Bears and the McCaskey family.
The Bears?
Right? Yeah. Or the Bulls and whatever is going on with that organization.
I know.
Like these are organizations that had their heyday in the 1980s and the 1990s.
It's embarrassing to be a Chicago sports fan right now.
Yeah, it's horrible.
On all levels.
So I don't feel like they deserve my support right now.
This year, I'm supporting the Detroit Lions this year.
That's almost blasphemy. That's almost blasphemous.
Hey, I'm in Michigan part of the year.
Yeah.
Okay, how about this one? Doctors quit doing this. You ask me how many alcoholic drinks I drink in a week. And I tell you 2. And you know that's a lie, and I know that's a lie. So don't ask.
Yeah. I am actually very honest with my doctors about how much I do things. They ask me like how much I drink. I tell them. They ask me if I do any other drugs. I tell them.
Well, this is irritating too. Before you have a doctor's appointment, there's all these intake forms online that you have to go through.
Yes.
You fill those all out.
And they ignore them.
Then you get to the doctor's office and then they give you another clipboard to fill that out again. Yeah. Then you're sitting with the nurse if you're going to have a procedure. They ask you those again.
I know, it's super annoying. It's like, just read.
Yeah.
Just read.
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
Give me a sec, guys. I'm going to handle something really quick and then we will be right back. Yeah, so I definitely get a little bit bothered at the doctor's office when they don't like actually look at your forms and pay attention. Here, I was actually this is a perfect time to dovetail into this. I hate insurance. I hate insurance, and I will come back to the doctor's thing in a sec because it ties into it. But so health insurance for me and my wife is $900 a month now. Mm-hmm. It was like $750 before this year. Just went up this year. That's a lot of money. It's a lot of money. Now, I've seen commercials where, they're like, hey, are you a young person? Do you need health insurance? Hop onto the online marketplace. We can get you a plan for as low as $20 a month. And I'm looking here like, how in the heck, I'm sure the deductible is insane, but how in the heck are these people getting $20 insurance and I'm paying $450 a month for mine? I by necessity, if that system works out like that, I'm sure I'm paying.
You're subsidizing.
I'm subsidizing their healthcare costs, which frustrates me because that means that it is actually like a public health benefit if everybody is healthier, right? It saves everybody money, right? It saves everybody time in the doctor's office. It saves everybody time
if people
here
were
or there.
Healthy, right?
So why am I not allowed to get mad at fat people and people who smoke cigarettes and stuff like, and I don't smoke cigarettes anymore, so I'm allowed to do that.
I was going to say,
I'm allowed to do that.
That's rich here.
I'm allowed to do that. But seriously, like, I feel like if my money goes towards making sure that you are healthy, you have some small amount of responsibility to everybody around to try and be healthy.
That's an interesting point. I wouldn't even think of that. Now, I'm a Medicare person.
Yeah.
But I also am subsidizing people because of, a particular income level, right?
Right, yeah.
However, I am okay with that. And
okay, that's fair. That's fine.
And I'm okay with that because I feel like there's people who wouldn't have anything, if in the Medicare pool,
yes.
There's people who would not have any medical insurance at ages when they need insurance,
yes.
Because things start going badly,
That's true.
right?
That's true.
And so I'm okay that I pay a little bit more than that person.
That's fair.
But it's not like a panacea where you think that Medicare doesn't cost. Oh, it costs. It costs. So it's interesting.
And it's tough. It's tough because you say deductible, right? Their deductible must be really high. Our deductible is still very high. Like my wife, she cleared this with me. I asked her if I could talk about this on our podcast. My wife is going through some health stuff right now where she has some nodes on her abdomen, and they're big. She has these two big nodes like down here on her abdomen that you can feel through the skin. They're bulging out of her like area down there, her abdomen down there, and we don't know what it is. She's gone to the doctor. They basically like They did some tests, and then they weren't calling her back. She had to call them back like 3-4 times to be like, get my test results. What are my test results? She calls back, like by the second time she calls back, they still haven't read her test results. They haven't even read it. The doctor that's supposed to read it.
Did she have an MRI for this?
She had like an ultrasound. I think they put like the
contrast.
Yeah, right. So they did that. And
well, keep me posted on that.
Well, they did read the test results, right? And they still don't quite know what it is. So now she's going to get fluid drained out of that to like see what's going on with that. And this is a woman who has had like polycystic ovarian issues, not exactly full on cancer, but like cancer adjacent stuff. Yeah. So we're very like, doctors, come on, like get it together. Right. We need care. We need help.
We need the toss. We need the results.
I hope everything is fine with her. I really do. So we're waiting.
Very good. Very good. Well, thanks for sharing that.
Let's see. What else don't I like? Okay. This is kind of, there's good and bad here, and it's lighthearted and funny, but also kind of like scary and not lighthearted. So there are live streamers out there who are making a bad name for content creators like you and me, who are just trying to, and, you know, I know our content isn't like the most exciting thing ever. Like, I get that. You know, we're two people here just kind of talking, having a conversation. But there are people out there who are really, really making it difficult for people like us who just kind of make content, because the content that they are making is incredibly disruptive, There is a streamer out there who goes by the name of Johnny Somali. And this guy has been spending time in foreign countries. He's an American kid. He's like a black guy. He spends time in foreign countries that are supposedly known for their polite societies. And he causes a ruckus. He causes issues. He gets in people's faces on purpose. He antagonizes people. He's kind of doing like the Borat thing.
I was going to say like Sacha Baron Cohen.
Yeah, a little bit like Sacha Baron Cohen, but more antagonistic. Like you might, if this guy came up to you and did his bit to you on the street, you might think that you need to defend yourself. Right?
Oh, wow.
That's
like
potentially.
Scary.
So, you know, he recently traveled to South Korea, and he pulled off his stunts there. Like he did a bunch of lewd acts to the comfort women statues, which, if you are unaware of the context surrounding these, there are like a bunch of bronze statues of young women in Korea, and they're called comfort women statues, and they are commemorative of women who were basically taken into sexual slavery during World War II by the Japanese. So they're very, very important and sacred and like revered statues. And this guy is like pouring baby oil on his body, getting naked in front of them, like licking them, kissing them, doing all sorts of very disrespectful things to them. He goes to like a convenience store, causes a ruckus in a convenience store, and eventually it gets to the point where like the South Korean online community put out a $10,000 or like $7,000 US bounty on this guy to anybody that could find him and stream themselves assaulting him. So there was like a hunt for this guy going on in Korea. And this is a country with mandatory military service, Mom.
Right.
So these guys who are hunting him, they know what they're doing. So he gets punched a couple of times. He gets his passport taken away. And he's actually facing up to 29 years in South Korean prison for his crimes. They're not just going to deport this guy, because they did that in Japan. He did this in Japan. They just deported him. And he's not allowed to go back to Japan for like 5 years or something. Korea's probably going to actually put this guy in prison for his nonsense. And it's guys like that, or there was this girl, what was her name? Give me 1 second. I've got it right here. Natalie Reynolds, who was in Colorado streaming for some sort of, or she was in Texas streaming for some sort of an event. And she convinced a mentally ill woman to jump into the Colorado River, in a part of the Colorado River that has a current, isn't legal to swim in. So this woman's going to get a fine for this. And then this girl like gets told by people who are there, like who are working at the dock there. There's like a boat rental service. They're like, you got to get out of here. This is not okay. What's happening here? You guys got to go. So they start leaving. They hear the woman yelling, now she's drowning.
Oh no.
She's crying for help.
Did she drown?
She didn't drown. She had to be rescued by the fire department.
Oh gosh.
These people, while this is happening, there are like 4 people standing there, 3 guys and this one girl streamer. And she's like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. They're all filming with their little cameras out there. I don't know what to do. What should I do? They told me to leave.
You know what?
And this girl egged this woman on for like 5 minutes straight to jump into the river.
Even beyond
and they eventually just left. They just left.
Right. But
they left this woman to die.
Oh, that's
terrible. They left this
terrible.
woman to die. So these people are making a bad name for the rest of us content creators, Mom. I hate it.
But even so, I often wonder, when something is happening on the street, there's a police action on the street.
Yeah.
Instead of people getting involved in anything.
Yeah. Oh, the bystanders.
Yeah. Right? They're taping it instead of, maybe.
Got to get that content.
Or calling 911 or whatever,
Should be helping. They should be trying to help.
Well,
they shouldn't just be filming.
I'll change the subject, make it a little bit lighter, but I don't know. Okay. So the DMV. Okay. I just had
likes the DMV.
Any DMV. I don't care where it's at. Okay. So I just changed my address on my license, and it took me an hour and a half plus to do it. Although I did have a lovely lady. She let me take the picture twice because I wasn't too satisfied. That was all lovely. However, when I went in Illinois to change my license for the first time after I changed my name back to my name.
Oh, your maiden name.
Right.
Yeah. Right.
I went into the DMV and I had all my divorce papers with me,
Yeah.
and they were in a manila folder, and I pushed them across, and I said, I'm here to change my name. And she opened it up. But this person couldn't do the transaction for whatever reason.
Okay.
So she called a supervisor. And the DMV, everybody's like this close to each other in those little stalls when they're taking care of people.
Yeah.
And the supervisor comes out. She's like, where's the divorced person at? Where's the divorced person at?
For real?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And
I mean, wouldn't that hit on like 50% of the people in there anyway?
And I'm like, I look at her, I go, okay, I'm the person that needs the help. And I said, excuse me, ma'am, did everybody need to know that I was divorced here? She goes, ma'am, there are no secrets from the DMV.
The government knows all. Big Brother.
So I was put in line. So that was that kind of exhausts my list of irksome things.
Yeah, I don't really think that I have too many things that are really, really, truly bothering me. I mean, some small things like people who participate in like group activities but do them for like selfish reasons, Like that's kind of bothers me a little bit. Like, I was part of a rec soccer team that I would go out there and, try my hardest, and I practiced on my off time, and I did, a bunch of exercising to make sure I was in shape. And I had people driving in from an hour away who just came to get touches on the ball. Who didn't want to actually play as a team or try to win.
We can't orchestrate everybody's motivation to do things.
Yeah, but my question is, if that's that guy's motivation, why doesn't he find a place that's closer to him that offers the same service?
Who knows?
And that like he's not doing an activity with a group of people who like some of them might actually want to try and win the game. You know? Like he should find what suits him a little bit better. What's kind of more his speed,
thing,
his level.
Well,
right?
I will say this though, Eric. As we've talked about all these things,
yes,
right?
Yes. Yeah.
I think one of the things that, we're doing this kind of tongue in cheek, obviously.
Yeah, we're having a little fun here today.
And taking the opposite side of the Thanksgiving and having gratitude, right?
Yeah. Subverting expectations.
Right. But I will say that I did look this up because I was curious about it, that there was a psychologist, Robert Edmonds, who sought to understand how people themselves benefit from gratitude. He actually found scientific evidence that gratitude is good for you.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
That gratitude improves your psychological well-being.
All right.
And that this inspired additional research. And today there's been a lot of studies on gratitude. And, so sometimes we kind of mock people who are like, oh, I count my blessings and I'm so grateful,
Yeah.
But there's a lot of truth to that gratitude's a positive emotion, and that when you have goodness in your life and you see goodness in other people, or you see a higher power and believe in that, it makes you feel better. It makes you feel better.
I believe that.
He says that gratitude heals and energizes and changes our lives. So in the context of us making fun of turkeys, we really are grateful during this Thanksgiving season for our families and our friends and our animals.
Of course.
And that we have to look at life in terms of, and I like these 4 terms: gifts, givers, goodness, and grace.
Gifts, givers, goodness and grace. The 4 Gs.
The 4 Gs. And that performing these kinds of activities, it reduces symptoms of depression.
That's good.
It reduces anxiety.
Okay.
And it increases your self-esteem, and it improves satisfaction in your daily life. So when all these irksome things get you down,
when the world is bearing down on you guys,
right? Just think about the 4 Gs and that gratitude for what it is that you have, as opposed to the having not.
Right.
Or the coveting something else, that there's power in that. And that's real important.
Well, great. Well, hey, guys, I think that wraps it up for us here today. We are going to be coming back to you next month. Well, maybe not quite next month, but very soon after that, we'll be coming back to you with another episode of Mom Please. So watch for us then sometime in late December or early January. In any case, we don't have anything else today. I'm not going to tell you what we're going to be talking about.
Right.
Because we don't even know ourselves.
Right.
I'm going to be completely honest with you. We don't even know ourselves. We have to do some things. We have to figure it out.
The holidays might inspire us.
Maybe they will. Maybe they will. So, thank you for joining us today. We'll catch you guys next time. And remember, mind the generation gap. Keep it civil, everyone.
Bye now.